you, Billy. What you doing?
Well, I just got back from the flea market. I bought me one of these here $3 cheap leather made in China wallets with the removable ID case and stuff. I'm gonna take this here piece of snake skin and I'm gonna glue it right there like that. And I'm gonna put it on my eBay store and I'm gonna sell hand stitched, handmade, hands.
Okay, Billy, I get it. Get to the point.
Did I say hand?
Like 100 times, yes. Get to the point.
Well, the point is I can make $100 a piece off of these custom handmade wallets of snakes.
Yeah, but that's not handmade. You're just gluing a piece of snakeskin onto an already made wallet. That does not make you a leather craftsman. That just makes you a lying fraud.
I think you're just a hater. You're just a hater. You just hate me because I'm pretty and stuff. Hey guys, we're going to do a couple of videos here. We have had some requests from you, our viewers, wanting us to showcase some of our exotic leather products and how we actually make them. So we're going to do this in a two-part video. We're going to highlight one of the custom orders that we recently did. Now, for those of you who are new to Cold Blood Creations, we do a lot of exotic leather products, and we do it in a way that we call cruelty-free. That means the skins that we use in our products don't come from rattlesnake roundups, python hunts, or anything like that. We use skins that we get from deceased animals in the pet trade that died of natural causes. So we want to invite you guys to come along with us as we build a rattlesnake skin belt. And in part 2 of this video, we'll upload about a week later, you can see the matching knife sheath that goes along with it. This customer here shipped us something, and he said he had a rattlesnake that he wanted something made out of after it died. This particular customer here did something that's kind of unusual in that he tanned the skin himself. We've not even opened the package yet to see what it is, but we thought this would be something interesting to show our viewers. We're going to work on this particular custom order for this video. Okay, so it looks like what we've got here is actually an eastern diamondback rattlesnake. Really nice size hide. Absolutely beautiful. Now, the actual tan, I'm not really sure what was used. The skin is nice. It's very soft. It's very pliable. So certainly we'll give the guy credit. Seems they did a good job on that. So as we start to work on this particular customer, one of the things we're going to get is one of these leather belt blanks because we're doing a custom rattlesnake skin belt. On this belt blank here, we have already gone ahead, because we got our customer's waist size, we've already gone ahead and marked the holes where they're going to be, for the holes for the belt buckle. Now, they have chosen one of these belt buckles here. This is Weaver leather belt buckle. And these are nice. These are solid brass buckles. That's what we're going to put on this belt. So now what we're going to do is go ahead and dye the leather, and once we get the leather dyed, we'll glue the snake skin onto it, and we'll show you from there. Let's see. Let's choose a good leather dye. Let's see. We have several here to choose from. How about a chocolate? This is a professional oil dye, or let's see. We could use black, saddle tan. The customer didn't actually have a preference, so what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and dye one of these up. Now, we'll go ahead and dye the back side of this. We're almost out of this particular chocolate dye, so maybe by the time we're done with this belt. These little wool daubers really come in handy. So we'll let that coat dry, and we'll come back, put a couple more coats on this thing. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to actually bevel the edges of this belt so that it's not a 90-degree angle. We're going to use this little beveling tool right here. Basically what we do is we lay it down on the edge, and as we go down, it takes just a small amount of leather off. And kind of like bullnosing, if you've ever done any woodworking, you know what a bullnose bit is. This is the same principle, only it's leatherworking instead of woodworking. But as you can see here, we're removing just a small amount of leather. We're going to go down to the end, and then we end up with this little shoestring almost. Anyway, we'll come back down here and we'll do our edges. Like so, and then I'm going to turn it around and go back the opposite way once I get this in. And then we're going to go back the other way. And again, this just makes the belt nice and round on the edges, so there's not any sharp corners or anything like that. Just a little extra. Now, one of the ways that you can tell quality leather work as opposed to what we call cheap flea market type work is the edges. We spend a great deal of time working on edges and getting our edges nice, rounded off, getting them finished up. So we're going to go ahead now with some more dye and just come back down those edges that we just beveled and dye the raw leather once again. Turn it around. So the next thing we do, we've already got this dyed, so now we're just going to kind of give it a little buff job. The reason why, if you look at the leather now, it looks kind of dull, and what we want to do is just take a cloth and just wipe the leather down like so. And you'll notice that it's getting a different, little more of a glossy sheen to it. And it will, the more we do this, the more it will actually almost begin to shine. Now, there's probably somebody sitting there going, well, it's a snakeskin belt. Why are you putting so much effort into the part of the belt no one's ever going to see? And the answer is simple: quality. If you're going to pay for a Cold Blood Creations exotic leather product, you want us to put a little extra time and effort into your product, and that's what we're going to do. So anyway, this is buffed up. You can see the difference now, how it was once very dull. Let me give you an example of the difference just that little bit of hand polishing makes. There was the piece of leather we cut off the end. It was dyed the same color, and you can see the difference in the gloss now. Alright, so we've got this shined up, and one of the things that we want to focus on now is our edges. And we're going to finish off these edges, and the way we're going to do that is just a little bit of water we're going to put in here. We want to dampen our edges. We want them nice and not sloppy wet, but we do want them a little damp. And we're just dipping one of these just down the edges. And again, you want it wet enough so that you can do a nice job on your edges, buff them up good. But you don't want it sloppy wet. Leather, when it becomes too wet, it almost turns into like a dishcloth. It loses some of its rigidity. So we're just going to go down these edges. We're going to gloss them up, smooth them out first, and we're going to gloss them up. And we're going to do that with this little tool right here. So now that we've gone down and slicked our edges, we're going to put our slicker away. What we want to put our attention on now is actually attaching our snake skin. Now for that we use a glue. This right here was introduced to me years ago. I used to build prosthetic limbs for soldiers coming back from the war in Iraq and Afghanistan. And I was introduced to this particular glue because it literally is one of the strongest glues that I have ever found when it comes to leather work. If you glue both pieces of leather together, you will literally tear the pieces before you get them separated. It's a really strong, really good glue. The way it's used, you put a layer of glue on the leather, you put a layer of glue on your snake skin, and when you bond those two together, you don't even have to stitch them. They're inseparable. But we're still going to stitch them because it just looks nicer. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and glue the back side of this down now. So now we'll glue our piece of snake skin and we'll attach the two together. We have our snake skin tacked out here just to hold it out straight, hold it flat while we get our glue on. Okay, so we got our snake skin attached to the belt. what we're going to do now is just go down and trim it. Now you're probably wondering why we don't go all the way to the end of the belt. And the reason we did not is because we need some extra skin in order to do the knife sheath, and you're not going to see that part of the belt anyway. I'm going to turn this back around and trim down this side. Actually, I'm going to be lazy and do this a little quicker. We are going to get ready to stitch this up, and the way we do that is with this little tool right here. Now this is called a stitch groover. Basically this piece right here slides in or out, and what it does, this has a little blade on it, and so it cuts a groove into the leather. Now if you're using a sewing machine, chances are you're putting your leather in and you're sewing and the stitches are right on the top of the leather. What we like to do is to actually use this groover, and I'm going to demonstrate here on a piece of scrap leather what this does. You ride this edge right here on the edge of your leather, and then the blade actually cuts a groove like that down the leather, so that when you put your stitches lay plush, so that as the belt's sliding through your pants, through your belt loops, you're not wearing out the stitching, causing the belt to fall apart. Again, just a little extra step that you'll find on nicer leather work that you may not see on some of the flea market type crafts. So we're going down this belt blank with our stitch groover. We're just cutting a small groove in the leather. You can see the thin, almost hair-like piece of leather that it's removing. It's just enough for our stitching to lay down in there like we want it to. And next, we're going to mark our stitch holes. And we're going to do that with this little tool here. Now, what this does, we run this down that edge, and you can see it has the little stars, and it'll leave marks in the leather. Then we'll come back with this awl, and we will actually punch in every hole where a stitch has to be in the marks left by this right here, and then we'll stitch it up by hand. So we've done this one side here with our stitch groover. Now if the camera will allow, you can see the difference between the one we haven't done and this one. You see the little holes all the way down. So what that enables us to do now is to take this awl in the palm of our hand, and what we'll do is place it in each one of these holes that was left by the points on this, and we will shove this awl through, and then we'll shove a needle behind it, and we'll hand stitch that way. Now it does take a lot longer that way than a sewing machine, but we feel that the overall quality is much better. We do advertise our products as handmade and hand stitched, and we don't want to be a Philbilly and not do what we tell our customers that we're going to do. Alright guys, so we've got all of our holes marked. Now what we've done, we bring our belt in here, and these two pieces of wood, these clamps, basically this is just a makeshift stitching saddle. We put the belt inside of it. All this is for is just to hold the belt so that we can have both hands free. We do hand stitch everything using a stitch called the saddle stitch. Now basically what we're going to do is take this awl, we're going to put it in a little beeswax here just to kind of lube it up, make it where it's not quite so hard. And we're going to go to our markings and put holes through every so often where we marked it previously. And we'll do about 3 or 4 at a time. And then we'll take our lacing and we'll come through the hole one direction, and then we'll come back through the hole again in the opposite direction with the other needle, and then we'll pull until our laces are tight. And this is how every single stitch is made on our products, completely by hand, no sewing machines. And we'll go all the way around the belt this way, and once again won't bore you with all the details. This does take a considerable amount of time, although we are a lot faster at it now than when we first started many years ago. So we're going to go ahead and put our rivet through here, the other side right here like so, lay it down, take our hammer, and like so. Now our buckle's attached. Only thing left to do to our belt now is to put the holes in it for the buckle to go through, and this will be a completed, finished Diamondback Rattlesnake belt. Let's go ahead and get those holes punched. This is again a very thick leather. One thing that I hate, and that is cheap, thin belts. You know, I hate going to a store and wanting to buy a belt and all you get is this thin, cheap leather. You know, I like the kind of belts that our dads used to whip us with when we were children. You know, in order to keep us from growing up to be sociopathic liars and stuff. I don't know about you, but I took a many belt spanking. Not as many as I deserved, but it was with a good solid leather belt. That's what I've always liked. So there we have it. We have our holes, have our buckle in place, our belt goes through center hole to our customer's waist, and then back through, and there we have it. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed this video of us making the belt. Also be sure to look in about a week or so. We're going to upload part number 2 where we're making the matching knife sheath. Also in part 2 we'll do all of our video bloopers at the end like we do on most of our videos. So you guys check that out. We appreciate you watching. If you like what you see here, hit the subscribe button down below. Give this video a thumbs up and a like. And guys, thanks a lot for supporting Cold Blood Creations here on YouTube.